I mean, they know to be quiet, but still.
Right. Somebody could walk in.
Yeah. They're all the time people walking in.
That's a good problem to have.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, not walking in for business. That's not a thing anymore.
That's true, actually.
If you're waiting on walk-in business, you were 6 steps behind because people have done so many things to catch the people in the stages before that.
Yep.
But so I'm Bryan Smith with Wiser Living Realty, and I'm sitting here with Matt Russell.
I'm the mayor of Republic.
And we're just gonna have a conversation here with you guys, or well, not with you guys, but
with
to each other in front of you guys. So actually, hold on, I can hear that in my voice still.
You're being critical, dude. I can't hear a thing.
You can't hear it?
I really can't. I swear.
Okay.
I'd tell you if I could.
Okay. Well, so you've said this is kind of a part-time gig for you. You're really a full-time attorney.
That's correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I've been elected mayor since 2020 in the city of Republic, and I kind of got into it by accident, actually.
Okay.
In 2018, my wife sent me an email, and in this email, it was a KY3 article saying the Ward 3 city council person was stepping down, and I read that email from my wife to mean, you should apply.
Okay.
That's not what she meant at all. And I've gone back and I've read the email and I've confirmed she was
so
just...
she didn't even say that.
No. She was just FYI. By
Okay.
the way, this is just so you know. Well, I took it as you should apply.
This is a sign.
It is. I applied on a Tuesday. I interviewed on a Wednesday. I was told on a Friday I was the guy, and I was sworn in the next Tuesday on city council.
Oh my gosh.
Bam, like that. So it was great, and I absolutely loved it. I loved being able to use my lawyer training to listen to the questions and ask questions and all that.
Well, and it was probably a whirlwind, but you've dealt with stuff like that before.
Absolutely.
You've had big profile things,
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
So it was great. I mean, I hadn't been in Republic long. I'd only lived there for about a year and a half, so I wasn't embedded in the community.
Yeah.
But this was a great way to learn about it.
Sure.
So fast forward to 2020. We had Jeff Ussery as mayor, and he was doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeff was working down at Silver Dollar City, still is, and he was traveling an hour and a half each way every single day, and it was just, he was spending too much time away from his family, and he actually stepped down.
Right.
Well, between 2018 and 2020, I had become the mayor pro tem. No big deal. Just run the meeting when Jeff isn't there.
Sure.
Unless the mayor steps down. Then you become acting mayor.
Oh, okay.
So I became the acting mayor of Republic, again, completely
like
accidentally.
like not on purpose.
And keep in mind, 2020 was...
Now, how long happened? Sorry, I don't mean to. How long went between that email and you becoming mayor? Like, how long did that take?
It was about 2 years. It was long
So
enough.
it wasn't, it wasn't all within that one period.
No.
You got a chance to be like knowing what was going on and involving yourself, and then 2 years, after 2 years experience, you ended up being mayor.
But keep in mind what was happening in 2020. COVID was hitting.
Right. Okay.
So we were in the middle of a mess. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know how big this was going to get. We were trying to continue running the city in the middle of the pandemic, and it was hard. It honestly was hard. So people would ask me, hey, are you going to run for mayor? Are you going to keep being mayor? I don't know, right?
Right.
It was not an easy time, but as it progressed, I found that I truly loved it. I absolutely loved it. So when I had the opportunity to run for re-election in 2021, I ran for election unopposed. I was elected mayor, and I've been it since, fully elected, and I love it.
Right.
But it was accidental. Complete accident from beginning to now.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So all because I misread an email from my wife. But
now it's interesting that she was honest about that and wasn't like, "Now look here, I made you mayor."
Well,
if you're watching,
completely candidly, I didn't.
She was
have her
very
support.
honest about
She was
that.
very honest, and I didn't have her full support. I didn't until we brought Andy's in. Once we brought Andy's to Republic, she's like, "Okay,
now I believe.
Now I think we
believe.
can do this."
Okay, and pause for a second. I'll cut this out or whatever. But like, I will. I mean, I'm obviously going to ask like clarifying questions.
Do it, man.
So like, I gave you this list, but like, I'm
We're
going to
having a
ask other
conversation.
questions. Okay,
Yep.
I'm just so. Oops. Gotcha. And you, okay? So you talked about bringing Andy's in. I have to ask because now this is not me saying this, but I have followers from my page that say that I was the person that brought the idea around. And I don't think they're right. I think that people already had works to bring Andes in for years before that. But we started talking about it because of Chick-fil-Andes.
Yep.
And I made this goofy thing because of Chick-fil-Andes, but people were like, "Oh, well, you brought Andes." I'm like, "No, I don't know any of the people that did Andes."
I can geek out on this. Okay, do you want me to tell you the full story? I'll tell you the full.
This
story.
is the story that you're. This is probably the whole reason you're here right now because it's funny.
Yeah.
This is good.
So there was a Facebook rumor for about 15 years now.
Okay.
That Andes was going to come into Republic, but the city council or some mechanism inside the city said, no, you can't come in because your facade of the building doesn't match with where we want it to be.
Sure.
And that was the rumor that was going around.
Sure.
Okay? Completely false. 100% false. And I'll tell you how I can tell you that. All right?
And it was the building, the outside of the building had to be a certain way.
Right. That was the
and
rumor.
that was the reason Andes wouldn't come in, that they were stubborn on the look of their building.
And that was the rumor.
All right.
And that was passed about in churches and on Facebook, and that's what everybody said. The city shut Andes down.
Right.
So here's the truth. Here's how Andes ended up in Republic, Missouri. My wife, Crystal, used to work at an accounting firm with a guy named Buddy.
Okay.
Buddy is now the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, at Andes.
Okay.
And when we moved to Republic, Crystal would email Buddy or send him a Facebook message about once a month.
Yeah.
All right? And say, you really need to bring an Andes in here. You really need to bring an Andes in here.
Yeah.
So,
everybody knew it was
everybody knew it would work.
Yeah.
So, in a board meeting at Andes with the CFO and the man, Andy,
Yeah.
he said, well, I'm thinking about expanding. Andy said, I'm thinking about expanding. Does anybody have any ideas? And Buddy, because of my wife pestering him,
Yeah.
said, we ought to check this out.
Yeah.
So they ran the trip numbers. Now that's how businesses decide where they're going to put their businesses, right? It's like the McDonald's effect.
Yeah.
The number of times somebody drives by a corner, if it's high enough, McDonald's will come in and put a McDonald's there.
Right.
Well, Andy's did that in Republic.
Okay.
Ran the trip count.
Sure.
And I was sitting in my office at my law firm. My cell phone rings. I don't recognize that number. I don't usually pick up, but I will. This is Matt. It was Andy. It was the man on the other line. He's like, Matt, this is Andy. I want to bring Andes to Republic.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, I'm so happy to hear this because now I know that my wife will support me for mayor, because that was an ongoing joke.
You're right.
But the truth of the matter is, I asked him some questions. I said, have you guys ever tried to come into Republic before? He's like, no, we have never tried to come into Republic before.
Yeah.
So I have it from the man, and he did it because
There wasn't a roadblock.
there was not a roadblock.
Okay. You've heard it here.
Yeah,
You heard it here.
Heard it here. The trip.
I'll quit saying that. But there's going to be a lot of these.
Yeah, that's fair. The trip numbers are ultimately what made them decide that there was going to be enough people driving by there to support their business, just like any restaurant. That's how they make their decisions.
You don't remember what the numbers were?
I don't know that I asked.
That's something, I don't know, that's something I've wondered recently, like how many cars go down Highway 60? Like it seems like so many now.
So
it's a crazy amount.
There is that number out there, and I know that I can get it for you, but it is.
Well, and that's, I put you on the spot
Right.
with that. I don't
Right.
expect you to know, like,
So
how many people we have right now. Right now.
23,000 would be my closest guess right now in the city limits of Republic. 23,000.
Yeah.
But that's a guess, and that's higher than
So-
the census.
Yeah.
So the Andes thing.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Andy, I said, you need to call David Cameron. He's our city administrator. He hung up with me. He called David Cameron, and within about 48 hours, there was a tentative deal hammered out to bring the Andes to Republic.
Well, no, I talked to Andy. He's got it.
He's
We're
the
there.
man. So I'm not saying you didn't contribute to
No,
bringing.
I don't think I did. Well, but no. So the real sad thing for you is it brings up a different question.
Bring
we
it.
didn't talk about why is your wife not mayor? If she brought Andes to Republic, she made you mayor. Like, why didn't she do it?
I love the question, and I've asked that myself. She thinks I'm crazy for doing it.
Yeah.
She does. She thinks that the time that this takes and the stress that it creates. And she's right. It's
She's
hard.
probably used to being the other half of your conscience and whatever the other things are that become with being a spouse. Like,
And I tell you what, she's amazing. We both went to law school. She owns her own accounting firm. Crystal is an amazing woman. In fact, We're celebrating 25 years of marriage in August.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. But
That's a long time.
everybody likes her more than me, so that's a reasonable question. Why isn't she married?
So we got to the truth pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the truthful answer is she doesn't
That doesn't
want
take away from you. It
That's okay.
does show what a good team you are, though,
Absolutely.
in life or whatever. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
but no, my page did not bring Andy's. His
sorry.
wife did.
His wife. Yep. Crystal, Buddy, and Andy the man. So
That's pretty good.
yeah.
I was just gonna, let's see, you've talked about being the mayor by accident, and you kind of talked about why you're the mayor now. Do you have some goals that you're looking to achieve now? You've been in for a while. You've seen how things are. What's like your 2-year goal and your 10-year? Well, you can't be 10-year goal. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
2-year goal and then like a longer term thing that you can see.
So, the true reason why I'm mayor, and the reason I love it, is because being mayor in a small community is the very best way to help my neighbors. Okay? I'm a lawyer, I'm a mayor, so the next question that most people say, well, what about Jeff City? Are you looking for the next job? And the answer is no. I'm absolutely not, because being the mayor in Republic is the very best way to help my neighbors with problems.
Sure.
So my goal is to make sure that we make things as smooth as possible. And that's really what Republic's reputation has become over the last 6 or 7 years. We are no longer roadblocks to businesses coming in. We are trying to address problems up front. At least that's our perception.
Well, yeah, and there are, a lot of the smaller communities outside of Springfield have a more traditional view of, what it is for a city to be or whatever, or a pace they want things to be, and sometimes that does stand in the way of progress or whatever. And there's always two sides of that coin, and
Absolutely.
you're always kind of, no matter which side of it you're on, you're getting a little bit of grief.
Yep.
I'm
never going to make everybody happy. And if you read the Facebook comments, you're going to see that somebody's mad about something all the time, no matter what the topic is.
Yeah, sure.
So what my goals are is to try to keep those people in mind, because they have valid concerns, and I get that. But I want to help people the best I can. So my true goal, and this is going to sound kind of dorky, okay, so I apologize.
It's okay. This is everything I do is dorky.
Fair.
So.
I want to raise the median income for every citizen in Republic.
Ooh,
I know.
that. Okay, explain that. Unpack that a little bit, because there's different ways that could be.
Exactly right. So, raising the median income, I want to make everybody's wages go up. I want to make sure that everybody is living a better lifestyle when I leave office than when I came in. I want to make it so they're making more money, they're living a better life, they're driving on better roads, they are safer.
Yeah.
And the way that we do that, in my opinion, is by bringing business in to the city of Republic that bring good jobs, secure jobs that pay more. So one of my goals is to make sure that we are a growing, thriving community for the business community to come in and make everybody's world better.
Sure. Now, can I play a little bit of devil's advocate here?
I love it.
The other side of that would say, if you're talking about raising the median income, like that sounds good, but there are multiple different ways that could happen.
Yeah.
And there are some folks that feel like when you push progress to, a really fast rate, that what you do is run out a lot of the people that have made that their home for a long time. And that's the kind of the resounding thing against what you're talking about.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a relatively recent addition to Republic. We've lived there for about 8 years. And there are a lot of the old school Republic people that grew up there, that went to high school there, that are my friends, that will say, you know what, Matt, I don't like it. I don't like that the roads are busy. I don't like it that I have to wait in line longer. I don't like that, I feel like there are just more people that don't really translate to who I was growing up.
Right.
And they are very legitimate in their concerns. I get it. That's why I think the second part of my goal is using common sense to prevent crazy growth. Now, we could remove all the floodgates and allow anybody that wants to come in to do anything they want. We don't do that.
Right.
We're not turning into a Monette with a bunch of chicken farms.
Now, again, from, the other standpoint, sometimes it does feel like that, because there is Now, keep in mind our entire area is experiencing massive growth. I'm in real estate, so we see it all the time. There's people coming from all over the country to here, and so I think people have to understand that there is some super growth going on, but at the same time, it does feel like we're kind of running towards really. I'm gonna have to cut this part. We're really moving that direction.
The true statement that you're trying to make.
So that I'll remember.
Your concern is that we're growing too fast.
Well, that's the concern that I'm presenting.
Yeah. So absolutely, and that's why we make sure that we partner with people of quality. Okay, right. We're not just allowing anybody to come in to do anything they want. What we're trying to do is make sure that we have national, solid companies like Amazon coming in, that come in with good jobs for this community.
Sure.
That deliver the packages to our doors faster.
Right.
These are good paying jobs for the people in Republic.
Yeah, that same person that's going to say, look, I don't want it to move this fast, is going to say, those are national companies that send their revenues other places. And, what do you like? What's the answer to that? Like, why is there not a way for our local, like the actual people that live here, to be a part of those types of big things? There are wealthy people in the Republic that could do a lot of the things that we need.
Yeah, and we invite those people to come to the table, and they do play a role. And there are local people like Andy that we were just talking about investing in our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are other local businesses investing in our community. So it's not just the Convoys of Hope and the Amazons. It's also Culver's, owned by a local company. Andy's, owned by a local company. Flat Creek, owned by a regional local company.
Sure.
Big Whiskies. I mean, these are people that are seeing the growth and trying to invest in our community. And there's not a perfect answer to this.
Sure.
And
we're along for the ride. Whether we try and stop it or not, we're going. We're on the roller coaster.
The way to make it stop is to completely put on the brakes and say Republic's not going to grow anymore, and then that
would be damaging to
everybody.
Right.
So the goal is to use common sense, and we're using the common sense and the geographic location of Republic to our advantage. Let me explain. Springfield is out of green space to grow.
Right.
Manufacturing, distribution, those places are eaten up in Springfield. Republic down Highway has hundreds of acres that are within a stone's throw of the airport, I-44, James River, Railway. This is area for major corporations to grow and local corporations to grow.
Okay, but so the idea is to gobble up all the space between us and Springfield so that we have a buffer. So can we say that out loud?
No.
That's a little bit like, I don't know what your relationship with Springfield is,
So
is it?
This is all within the area that's already incorporated in the city of Republic.
Right.
Brookline came into Republic. It is all incorporated. We are just utilizing the green space that we have. And so are we growing faster than, say, Springfield or Nixa?
From a real estate perspective, that feels backwards to me personally. Why wouldn't you, and this is all without knowing anything about how you run a city, right? For the most part, but why wouldn't you buy up the cheap land on the other side? And if you already have this, why wouldn't we hold on to it? It'll be worth more in 10 years.
That's a great question. And that's the exact sort of question I asked when I rolled onto city council with all these common sense questions.
Sure.
So that space, close to I-44, close to James River, close to the airport, are ideal for growth, for business. What we're doing is we're using the other side of Republic to separate it into residential, probably what you more care about, to make sure that
that you have an industrial sector and a residential sector.
Yeah, and we have a master plan for that to make sure that we don't build Amazon right next to brand new houses.
Now, does Springfield hate that?
I don't want to speculate to what Springfield thinks or doesn't think. I know that
maybe we can ask.
I wish you would, but if I were to put myself in their role, I would say they'd probably be envious of the green space that we have that they don't.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and so I've been in Republic for a long time. Basically what it's always been is the suburbs of Springfield, which they weren't suburbs before. They were more like satellite communities, and now they're becoming more like suburbs, right? So who's winning the race to be the premium suburb of Springfield? Well, we are. It used to be Nixa. Nixa used to have all the momentum. They were the ones that won all the football games or whatever between all our goofy little towns, right?
Right.
But now Republic's it because we have the momentum, and you have, what you're talking about with all of the, so they're big commercial, they're these big national companies coming in, sure, but it also brings with it what it brings in the scale that it is.
Yeah.
And so that all kind of makes sense. It just is a little bit scary, I think, for a lot of folks.
Well, it's terrifying.
Right.
And it's terrifying because it's new, and it's terrifying because you don't know exactly what's going on. You see apartments going up, and you go, oh my God, are we turning into an apartment community?
Right.
And what you don't realize, and what you can find out super easily on our website, because we are really transparent at Republic. Everything we do is up on a website. And you can go look at it, and it shows all the tracking of everything.
It's a little bit hard to follow.
It's so much information.
There's too much information.
So
somebody has to to complete. If your goal is everybody being able to understand what you're doing, there has to be a way to condense the huge amount of information that you guys have to deal with and put it out to the public. Because otherwise, then you have other actors coming in and whatever, manipulating the narrative against it.
So, and we're kind of catch-22. Do we put everything we're doing, or do we try to tell a story and only put certain things up, and then people say we're hiding stuff?
Right.
So we do the very best we can with the people we've got to get the information out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
everything's always a struggle, and just trying to do it the best that you can.
Yeah.
So, what would you say so far that your biggest accomplishments are, other than your wife bringing Andy's to Republic?
Republic, since 2016, has brought in $1.2 billion of investment.
Okay.
$1.2 billion of investment between infrastructure, business, home building. That number is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
I think
that's a huge economy for that many people.
Exactly. And so the reason I'm so proud of that is not just because of the number. The number's cool, but people believe in the things that we're doing. Investors and citizens both believe in the things that we're doing. Investors clearly because of the number, but citizens, are you sure the citizens believe in it? When we ran a law enforcement sales tax, requesting more from the citizens so that we could better protect them with fire and police,
Right.
it passed overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
When we asked for a no tax increase for our park system so that we could do amazing things, our citizens supported it overwhelmingly. That's a sign to me, and I'm proud of it, that the citizens believe in the things that the city are doing. Are there going to be people that don't believe in it? Sure. Are there going to be people, like you're about ready to ask me a question about this?
Well, I'm about ready to say, this is the kind of stuff, like, when you say that on here, like, I'm probably going to have to cut it before that if you don't want me to say, I don't agree with a lot of what you just said. I didn't want this to be, like, a debate in any kind of way, but, like, I can't really just let you say that on here and, like, me not say I disagree with that personally.
Okay.
In a lot of ways. And I don't want to, I feel like there's a lot of ways that I probably just misunderstand what y'all are doing.
You're the normal citizen.
Right.
And if you misunderstand it, potentially.
And I'm sure there are parts of it that I do. And so,
ask.
Yeah, boy, that might all be for the second interview or something. We're talking about really getting. You have to have seen, me saying, you've heard about my comments, and like I've been a pretty loud voice in Republic against some of the things that you guys have been doing, right? To bring it out in the open in the eyes of whatever. When you're talking about the people on Facebook, essentially, like I'm one of those people, and I don't agree with. I don't have shit. I don't have all the views that I presented as devil's advocate before, but but I have some differing opinions from you probably.
And that's the great part of living in our country and our town, because you get to have those views, and I respect those views.
Sure.
You're allowed to disagree with what I'm saying.
Sure.
The great thing that we're getting to do is sit down and talk about it.
Sure.
Rather than shoot out comments without being able to address it.
Sure.
So if you have a concern, man, I'm the mayor. You should be able to ask me.
Literally here right now.
I'm literally here on camera.
Okay, so I mean, the big question that brings up is, you know, what was the percentage of people that voted in the last election?
You know, voter apathy is a problem across the entire nation.
Well, but what was the percentage?
So you're asking for a statistic that I don't have
was
memorized.
it was like, I mean, I don't know, I have to look it up, but it was like 7% or something.
I don't doubt the words
And
that
so,
you're saying.
and that's not your fault or whatever. That's because we as citizens choose not to be involved very highly in our local government. And so, you know, that's a decision that we make, and it's really hurting ourselves. But when you say something like, you know, a 7% vote is, you know, like this authoritative voice, like, I just don't buy it.
And there is a very valid point that you are making. I agree. But I have to only work with the numbers that I can actually work with. And the people that show up that voice their opinions are the only ones that I can.
That's all you're going on. Like, that's all you have.
Right. So, look, if you disagree with it, man, you do what you do.
Right.
You get on Facebook and you say, I disagree with it because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, and yeah, I mean, to some degree, for my thing, it's because I've been trying to draw attention to, like, let's pay attention to the government. It's not so much that I really know what's going on. It's just like, what's happening here? What's happening here, guys? Like, are we all just, nobody's paying attention? Like, can we, like, pay attention?
Well, and this is the reason that I love coming and doing these sorts of things because, frankly, I believe for the vast majority of people out there, if they had all the information on whatever topic, at least their opinions would be informed.
Sure.
So let's have these conversations. Let's have these debates.
Right.
And we may walk out of here completely disagreeing with each other.
Right.
But at least we're both on the same footing.
Sure. Sure. But so, I mean, that right there is a great example of where it starts to feel like manipulation of the numbers a little bit. When
Okay.
you're, you know, when your message is, you know, this is this, you know, authoritative decision by the voters, and it's like, man, that was 7% of the people. And granted, that was the only ones that actually got out of bed that day to go vote. So that's how it works, folks. You
Right.
know, if you're not paying attention, then like somebody else makes the decisions for you.
And that's exactly what happened.
But that's not, but it's very much not what the entire voice is from Republic.
So I guess I have to say to that is we can only address the things for the people that show up to talk.
Yep.
And
I can't argue with that.
And I
argue with that.
want everybody to be equally represented, but there's a way that we do that. And if they're not willing to bring themselves to the table and only make comments on Facebook, I can't help that.
Now, and so the other side of that is, I mean, you should be on Facebook. Like, if you have such access to the people, and I get it that, like, with your work and stuff, you would have to,
You're gonna
like,
have to
run it up
focus.
the flagpole before you said anything on.
I am
you
on
know,
Facebook.
You are now.
I was. So I got.
What made you get back on Facebook?
I was hacked about 6 months ago and completely booted off Facebook.
Right.
12 years of my kids' pictures
Yeah.
gone. And frankly,
Which there's a function to back that up, by the way. Next time,
now I know, and I didn't before, but I'm
it
back.
changes every day, and they don't put information out about it. So
It's
to know
frustrating.
things about it is tough.
Yeah. So I got back onto Facebook because, like I said at the last Chamber of Commerce meeting, the people deserve to know who their mayor is, and that's the the box in town square nowadays is Facebook, and so people do need to see me out there, and that's why I got back on Facebook because they deserve to know who I am.
And it is stupid, right?
Oh,
Like,
it's so frustrating.
Facebook is stupid. We're here on Facebook telling you it's stupid, okay? But like, it is the new town square,
It is.
and it is the easiest way for you to reach out to your citizens.
So that is why I'm back on Facebook.
Sure.
Um,
But what made you realize that?
once again, my wife. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, look.
Here I've thought I've been influencing you all this time, and it's just been your wife.
No, I'm
Oh my
sorry. I'm
gosh!
sorry. No,
Okay.
Uh,
So you didn't see the McLaren video then? It
I-
wasn't that.
I don't know what the McLaren video is.
All right, it wasn't that either. Never mind.
What's the McLaren video?
You didn't see my video last week or week ago. I'm cutting this part out because
I'm sorry. What's the McLaren video?
you want me to show it to you real quick?
Sure.
We can get back to it.
Well, don't mess up your phone.
Oh, that's right.
You're
It's on there.
Yeah.
Never mind. I don't have my phone. Anyway, we'll cut all that
All
out
right, sorry.
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, I don't mind this. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad.
Yeah. Well, because I really meant to just kind of like breeze over the light topics of everything, and it's like
If I say something that offends you, you say it.
yeah. Well, and I just wasn't ready to I'm not ready to hash out all our Republic's problems right now today.
I'll come back as many times as you
And I
want.
mean, we can, but like, I mean, yeah, I mean, actually, that was all pretty gold.
Cool.
Like, I mean, and it honestly makes you look pretty good because it's like you're literally sitting here answering the questions, which is all anybody expects of you.
And that's all I can do. And so I don't mind if you completely disagree with everything that comes out of my mouth.
Right.
I'm telling the truth and you're telling your truth. The truth is, if you stand on one corner and I stand on another corner and we watch an accident happen,
Yeah.
we can turn around and say completely separate things and both be accurate.
Sure.
So, man, that's just part of life. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
So-
Okay. And we'll keep going. I won't. Yeah, I'm not gonna really try and attack too
So-
hard. I just am like,
Are you?
it was just you said all that, and I was like, oh, so I either have to sit here and agree to that, or I'm like, no, I have to say something.
This is a conversation, so I know we're.
And I'll show you all this when I cut it because there's going to be some creative
Yeah.
stuff in here. So.
Were you one of the guys that like super anti-republic? Like I didn't know that when I walked in.
Super anti.
Like anti-city of republic government.
Oh yes, you do. You've got to have heard.
Dude, I swear
You've
to
never
God.
heard about me.
So
You've never heard about me before. Come on, don't lie.
I don't retain that stuff. I know that's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you said you follow my page.
I
at least.
do. I just didn't know that.
You didn't know it was me.
Yeah.
You never knew Bryan Smith. You never heard Bryan Smith before.
I'm sorry, man.
Man, I'm a little guy.
Dude, I'm sorry. No. It's
You never heard my name.
So you want me to tell you why?
Why?
Okay. So I'm a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah.
All right. I represent people that are accused of crimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wouldn't know you.
Yeah. A lot of people get really weird when they talk to me about that. Like, how can you do that? Why would you do that?
Because it's my job. Because somebody has to.
Yeah. So it literally rolls off my back when somebody says, you're wrong. Okay, man. That's cool. Like,
Right.
it doesn't bother me. I've been in trials where things have gone sideways and people have yelled at me.
Yeah.
And so when people get upset, I legitimately say, that is your right.
Right. Well, but so when you say you've heard all of the stuff from Facebook, then how do you hear that?
I don't assign
Like somebody
names to
doesn't,
it.
but somebody just says people are saying this.
Yeah.
Because you haven't been on there. You're just hearing it from somebody else. Yeah.
So I'm no offense to you.
That
or
can
your
be
activity.
dangerous when you're getting things secondhand a little bit too.
Well, like the
I will
Andes
say.
thing. Like the Andes thing.
Right. Like they were like, oh, you brought it to Republic. No, guys. No. Like people have talked about Andes being a Republic forever.
Yeah.
And it's like they've just always thought. They've always wanted Andes.
So I guess I knew about the satire page. I just didn't know it was you.
Yeah, so it was a secret for a long time, and then I released it, and nobody cared.
Oh, no.
So it became a secret again because nobody cared.
Yeah.
So
I mean, no
I've been
disrespect.
sort of slowly building it, just like for the heck of it,
It's funny.
honestly, because it's another way it helps me be able to delve into Facebook's algorithm.
Right.
So like the Facebook's algorithm is immense, and you can't possibly nail it all down, and it changes every 3 seconds, and it's different every day, and so it's something I'm studying though for work because I make a lot of money off of it, and so it's another avenue to kind of delve into the AI that exists there.
Dude, I laugh at your page. I think it's hilarious. I
Yeah.
truly do. And the second you started poking fun at me, I was just like, that's fair. I love it. You know?
Yeah, you maybe need to go back a little further. Some of it's a little bit.
That's okay.
If you did, some of it's a little bit.
It's okay.
I don't know. I won't show it to you right now.
We'll look at it
You'll
later.
have to look.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I guess I'll just keep going here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I asked you your biggest accomplishments. Did we talk about biggest obstacles?
Oh, the people are so mean to me. So no, I'm joking. I'm joking. No. So the biggest
Now that you're on Facebook,
Yeah,
you're gonna go back and see
yeah.
everything I wrote, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh!"
No.
Like I can think of one thing in particular I wrote in the last month that you're gonna read, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, he said that."
So you have every right to say that, and you have every right to believe that. It is my job to make sure that I'm doing the best I can. And if that's not good enough for you, man, what can I do?
Yeah.
So
Well, and at least you're here having a conversation,
right,
So,
and I'm not ever scared of having those conversations. I was telling somebody the other day, to be a successful person, I believe you have to be willing to have the difficult conversations.
absolutely.
And so,
Well, and to be a person of integrity,
right,
because a lot of times telling the truth hurts,
Yeah.
and like you got to tell it regardless.
yeah.
So
So the biggest truth the biggest truth that I'm going to say about the obstacle is, man, I'm not an expert at this. People think by going to law school you get some sort of special, I don't know, ability, and it does teach you to think differently in law school. But man, I didn't go to law school to be a mayor. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So I am 2 or 3 years into a job.
Well, and even if you were trained for it, nobody has been mayor of a republic while they went through this extreme period of growth.
Exactly.
And knew how to manage. There's not one way of how to manage it. It's like, which one of these different ways do we manage it? Because we could go a bunch of different ways with it.
So when I have lunch with the city administrator, a lot of times I'm saying, dude, am I doing this right? Because I don't have a comparison. I don't have the knowledge on how to be a great mayor. Now, he assures me that I'm doing a great job, but he's biased. I get that. You may say you're doing a really bad job, Matt. Okay, I get that.
I wouldn't really know how to tell you overall because I don't know how to be mayor.
Well,
and neither does anybody else,
right,
for that matter.
So the biggest obstacle is me trying to figure out how to do my job.
Sure.
And it's a lot of, the city employees, they're professionals. That's where they go do their job every single day. So when one of them comes to you and says, hey, we need to do this,
right,
I have to take a step back and go, okay, this is a person that went to school for this, that has done this job for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
How do I tell this person that they're wrong?
Sure.
And that's a big thing to do. So
Sure.
my biggest obstacle is making sure that I remain far enough removed that I can still be the voice of the people to say no. And I do. Now, a lot of people that watch the city council meetings might not see a lot of that sausage getting made because we do those conversations before it ever gets out into the public.
Yeah, and it does feel a little bit when you watch those videos.
I hate it.
I mean, it feels a little bit like, yes, we all agree. Yes, we all agree. Sometimes a couple people ask questions and like, that's it.
I hate it. I absolutely hate how friendly we all are. Because you watch Springfield or Branson or somebody else, they're going at it left and right.
Well, but so how do you get people to be a part of a conversation when you're not even showing them the conversation?
That's fair. And I would tell people that if you are interested in this, come to our city council meeting. You are going to be a welcome person, that if you have a concern, you're going to be given that chance to speak.
Gosh, you do not want to tell me that.
Dude, I do, man. I have been called names you wouldn't even believe. But, dude, come. You're going to be given the same amount of time as anybody else. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to answer your question.
All right.
Right? Because...
And if I'm a jerk, you're going to be like, I need you to leave.
Well, I've had people be jerks. I've had newspapers say in writing, I don't know how Mayor Russell didn't kick this guy out.
Right.
And I don't, because, man, you have a right to talk.
Well, and you're just trying to be human or whatever.
And if you say something that I don't know the answer to, I'm not going to try to answer you. I'm going to say, you know what, sir? I'm going to need a couple of days to look into that, and we're going to get back to you.
Yeah.
And we do that routinely.
Sure.
So come.
Well, and it is just one of those things where it's like, it is so big now. There's so much going on, so many different issues, so many things you guys deal with on a daily level that if you were to try and have that entire conversation with everyone, it just would be immense.
Yeah.
But, so that's where, I feel like you have to be able to condense it for people. And you've had two...
What are we doing right now?
Right, and this is the perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
But in the past, you guys have kind of, in my opinion, kind of failed at that. You've had, two different public information people in the past, however long. Now, that's another one I want to know what the true story. There's rumors about how one of those happened.
Yeah.
And, but I don't know if it's appropriate for us to talk about in the video or not. Maybe that's something we can do when we turn the camera off.
I probably can't get into HR issues, but here's what I can tell you. Go back and look at the last, we're in, April. Look at the April 11th City Council meeting on YouTube. And you're going to see that David Cameron and I, at the end, also say, this is really bad that we don't get enough information out to the public.
Right.
Like with $1.2 billion. That's a huge number that people deserve to know about. And I'm the only one saying it.
Yeah, and you guys are probably so busy just going that it's like you don't have, but a city...
You're making David's argument right there. Because he says we're just doing our jobs. And I'm saying as mayor,
right.
The citizens...
But you're also running this big city that has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. So...
And they have no clue.
If you want to see the mayor and the city administrator disagree on video, go watch the tape.
Yeah.
Now, it's friendly because we are friends.
Yeah.
I like the guy, but I don't agree with this particular issue, and he knows that.
Right. And so when you say that there's no, kind of roadmap for what Republic's going through, I mean, hasn't David done that thing somewhere? I mean, hasn't he done this somewhere else?
He's in year 30.
Like he's like this. He's has years of experience in doing that, right? Like in building communities.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. He is so good at building that sometimes I don't think the story gets told appropriately.
Right. But so he. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think the story doesn't get told appropriately, and I think he would acknowledge that it doesn't get told appropriately, and that's something we're working on. In fact, we're getting ready to start doing e-newsletters at my prodding. We want the citizens to know.
E-newsletters.
Dude, what do you want?
It sounds like it's.
Do you want to come interview
what is
everybody?
It 2002 right now?
Come interview everybody. Put them on camera.
Are you gonna pay me?
You want more taxes?
I make videos for me, and I make money off of it.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's
you find
fair.
somebody else can do this as well as I can, pay them a lot of money.
And that is what we're working on. We're just not right there, right at this second, but we
Sure.
are working on that.
And that's what you need. I mean, it is. It absolutely is.
I go back to the video, and you're going to see that is exactly how I feel. And that was before this conversation ever happened. So.
Yeah, no, and that's cool. But so, I mean, surely there are other communities the size of ours that have done this kind of thing before.
Yeah.
What have you guys looked at other cities that are the model?
It's interesting that you're asking this because it's ongoing right now without you even knowing about it. Broken Arrow has an amazing public information office that we are researching. We are also talking to some local advertising companies to see if we can outsource the message, like what MSU and Springfield has done. That's been successful in similar size type communities. So we are looking into that. We just
Did you say outsource the message?
outsource the presentation of what's going on in the city.
Like, so bring more people. Like advertising the city to bring more people.
Informing our citizens about what's going on.
Oh, sorry. I thought when you were saying outward, I was picturing.
No,
for some
like-
reason, I went.
So like outsourcing a job.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
rather than you have a assistant, you have a virtual assistant to,
Yeah.
to represent.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
I went off on a.
No, it's okay. So rather than have an internal PIO, what would it look like if we hired somebody to do that for us?
Sure. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by outsourcing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I, for some reason, was thinking that you were talking about like sending the message, like we do with the billboards. I don't really understand some of that, where it's like, okay, so we're experiencing this growth that's hard to handle, and yet we're advertising the community, and that's where it feels like it's like, ooh, is that are we trying to do this manageably, or are we trying to just pour gas on it and just become the biggest community we can? I mean, I just don't know if it's sustainable.
Yeah. Totally understand that argument. And that is absolutely something that we need to get a solid foundation for a public information officer to make sure that we're making that decision on the message. What we're telling is appropriate for where we're at right now.
Because sometimes it doesn't feel like, especially the problems we have with the sewer.
I agree
with
with
the
you.
treatment plant. And so it's like, that's come out of the blue, but we've known about that for 20 years.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been here that whole time and heard the whole story, and we're still kind of blaming it on people from 20 years ago that we made the wrong decision. For everybody that doesn't know, Republic pumps its sewage uphill both ways.
Uphill.
Uphill both ways to the treatment plant. And that is not his fault.
The voters
But
voted
they are
on that.
dealing with it right now, and it's basically you guys have to do a new treatment plant, right?
Oh, it's
like,
obscene.
yeah.
It's $125 million for all the stuff that we have to do. It's going to affect everybody's pocketbook. We are going to Jeff City begging for more money.
But we didn't see that coming for 6 years, for however long,
So I can tell you that ever since I came on council, so we're going on close to 6 years, it has been a constant topic of conversation. The problem has been, it has not been well disseminated to the public, but for the last year and a half, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's a big problem, and we're doing our best to fix it.
Yeah. And it just feels like sometimes like the focus is on the growth, and the focus is on, kind of how we can make Republic look like the best place to live. But if we don't have sewers and roads to drive on. Like,
Yeah.
what are we all doing here?
So-
I mean, we can have a lazy river, but if we can't feed ourselves, like, what are we doing?
That's a great point. And, you know, it is a lot easier to talk about the good stuff than the bad stuff in anybody's life.
Absolutely.
So what we're trying to do is address these issues in the best way that we know how.
Right.
We're trying not to put the entire amount back on our citizens to pay.
Right.
It's a problem that has to be fixed.
Right.
You talk about roads, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because when I first moved to Republic, it would take me about 20 minutes to get from my office back to my front door.
Right.
And now it takes about 35 in the space of 8 years. That's ridiculous.
Sure.
I'm complaining about the traffic. My neighbors complain about the traffic. The parents on my kids' sports team complain about the traffic. It sucks.
All of them.
All of them. And it's because it's a real problem. Missouri Department of Transportation doesn't just come do roads. There is a queue that has to be filled. You have to show that you need it. And then there are 3 to 5 years beyond that to actually do anything about it. It is state government at its worst, in my opinion.
But so there's a limit to how fast our roads can grow.
Yeah, there is.
But yet we're pouring gas on the growth.
You know why? They won't expand the roads if we're not growing. So then we'll be stuck with a
Fair
problem.
enough.
We'll
Yeah.
be stuck with the traffic problem without the ability to fix it.
Yeah, but I would think that they would be more worried about the consistency of the growth over how much it is. You know, like, okay, so you don't have to show this much growth, you just have to show this much growth for this amount of time. Why would we do this much growth?
Missouri Department of Transportation, you're exactly right. Missouri Department of Transportation is widening MM Highway. And they are widening it because of the money those businesses are sending up to Jeff City.
And it's more about the dollar amount instead of the rate of growth.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. And I wish there was a way to fix it. I wish I could go to 174 and Main Street, you know, right there by the elementary schools, that everybody that drives to Mount Vernon, where I grew up, has to drive through that.
Well, you're about to fix that though, right?
Yes, we
With the you got the
round. Yeah.
What are you calling it? The queuing road.
The queuing road at the storage, and you know, God bless the
That's
Dr.
been needed
Pierce.
for so long.
Dr. Pierce and the city got together and worked together on that, and it's a great idea. But it's still a problem, and it will continue to be a problem. And I wish we had the money to go fix it. It's not a road to go fix,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And it's frustrating, and that's some of the obstacles I face as mayor, because I want to go fix the problem. You can't fix that problem. You can only fix this problem.
Right.
You know, and that's frustrating and hard.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm gonna cut out all these ums.
Oh
and,
man, this is great. Thank you.
This is actually really.
Thank you for letting me do
I don't know
this.
if my boss is gonna let me post it, but.
Hey, the truth of the matter, this is the truth. You know,
Right.
And
Well, and honestly, like that's all I'm worried about. Like, and I don't really have some big agenda. I'm just like, I just want everybody to pay attention.
You
Like,
know-
what's the, this is like everybody should be involved in what our community is becoming.
I want
Like,
you
why
to be
aren't
able
we-
to say, I met with Matt Russell and I disagree with him about 60% of what he said.
Yeah.
But the other 40%, he's really legitimately trying. And
Sure.
that's all I can ask for.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and you're not gonna please everybody or whatever, but at least having the conversation is.
And if you
Again,
want to go delete
the
that
whole
comment in Facebook before I go read it, you can totally do
No,
that.
I'm gonna leave it.
It wasn't about me specifically, was it?
One of them was.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat it right now.
Dude,
I mean, it didn't have any curse words in it, but it was pretty mean.
what did I do?
I mean,
It's okay, tell me.
it's
I
not
wanna-
so much about what you did.
I'm interested. I'm honestly interested. What I do?
Do you really want to
I
hear
really wanna
what the one that would be the most something about? Boy, I don't know that I don't want to put it out there. I can delete it, I guess, after I say it. If it doesn't.
I'm honestly curious because I want to address it. Because if it's the biggest, ugliest thing, I'd rather address
It's basically like saying you were a yes man for David Cameron,
it. Okay.
and that everybody else pretty much is, and that pretty much everybody just follows whatever the heck he says.
I love that.
And honestly, it's pretty obvious from looking at it that that's the way it is. I mean, he's the guy with the vision, right? He's
Right.
the guy that's done this before. So, I mean, in some way that makes sense, but like sometimes it also looks like nobody else ever disagrees.
Right. Okay. I love that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're not the only person that thinks that. So, I believe that the city needs to be run as a business. Okay? I'm a business owner. I own a law firm. I used to own other businesses. My wife currently owns an accounting firm, a payroll processing. We're entrepreneurs. You're going to disagree with me, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
I already have a comment.
No, I love it. That's why I want to have this conversation. It is a business, and I believe David is running it as a business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you clearly disagree with that, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But as his supervisor, I get to watch what he does. That's my job as mayor, is to supervise the city administrator. And you are correct. It looks like I say yes a lot.
Okay, but so if we're going to run it like a business, we're going to build all the luxuries before we take care of the sewer. I mean, like we're in this room right now, paid for by my broker or whatever. And if he was in here putting in gold chairs and I didn't have a computer to work with, like, wouldn't I be kind of skeptical of that? And is that really running it like a business?
I'm going to answer that question, but could I finish the first question?
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay. That's super valid. Super valid. So like a business, if you got in trouble by your broker, if you did something on this video that he's like, you can't do that, man.
I'm doing it right
Right.
now. He's gonna be really mad that we're having this conversation.
But the fact of the matter
Sorry,
is...
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse,
Hope
we
you're
love
having
you.
fun in Houston.
We love
He's
you,
a really
Jesse.
nice guy, actually, yeah.
So, you guys can cut all this, but I'm having this conversation with you.
Sure.
If you did something wrong, Jesse wouldn't put you on blast at city council.
Right.
At least, I don't think he would. I don't know, Jesse.
Right.
I know that I don't put David on blast when I disagree with him because I'm his supervisor.
Sure.
What do? We go to lunch every single
And
month.
hash it out.
And hash it out. And man...
Where do you go? Can I come?
No, you absolutely cannot. You absolutely cannot.
Oh, boy.
You may not come. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, man, we disagree.
Yeah.
And we also agree on a lot because I believe in his vision. I do.
Yeah.
But you don't dress somebody down that you supervise in front of absolutely everybody else.
Sure.
So, do I say yes a lot? Yeah. You know why? Because I believe in that direction. You don't, and that's cool.
Right.
But I do, and that's the direction we're headed.
Yeah.
Now, why would we go do all the nice things? I've got an answer for that.
First. Why would you do them first?
Okay. What I did not understand when I came onto city council, and maybe you do, and maybe everybody else out there does, and I was just the ignorant person. But the city is run by different accounts.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, why are we getting a lazy river? That's the parks money. I can't go use the parks money to go pave a road. It's not allowed by state law.
Right.
So, one of the ways that Republic continues to grow is because of really cool parks and really nice things. So, if we want the city to continue to grow, to be able to pay for those roads, because we know we have to prove that we need those roads, we have to keep drawing people.
We already have really nice parks.
Yeah, and we're going to get even better
And
ones.
people love them already. The parks people are fantastic.
They
Everybody
are
loves
great.
it.
Yes, and they're going to get even better, which will then bring in more tourism, which will increase sales tax, which will then allow us to be able to pay for those other things that we need. It is an investment into our community.
Right.
Now, if you don't want your community to grow, don't do that. Right? That's the answer.
Right.
And there are people that I love in the city of Republic that say, Matt, I don't want it to grow another bit. I don't want my kids to be in classes with 25, 30 kids. I want it to be like how I was in 15 or 20 kids in class. And I get it. My kids go to school there too.
So the answer is that the luxuries drive the tax revenue to pay for the
Things we need.
to pay for the things we need.
Like cops and firefighters and roads.
And so from an outsider's perspective, it feels like really like we just wanted those luxury things done, and then we'll deal with everything else later because we already know our revenue is going to increase by so much. So nobody knows that the Republic's revenue has more than doubled in the past, 2 years?
Yeah. We're doing good.
Nobody knows that.
Yeah.
Nobody's said it out loud. Nobody's come out to the internet or anything or the newspaper. Nobody's even said anything about that.
And that's on us because we're not telling our story well.
I heard about it from Nixa.
Yeah. It's on us. We are not telling our story well. But that's going to change.
Okay, but like a year and a half ago, we were saying, look, we don't have the money for police and fire when we knew that our income was doubling.
Well,
And so that narrative felt misleading.
that's fair. You say we knew it was doubling. We didn't know it was doubling.
Oh, come on.
No, we could project and we could
It
predict.
was increasing by 22% each year at that point.
But we budget for a 6% increase because that's a solid way to run your business.
And when we knew it was already increasing by 22%, the number that we put out was a 2% increase on this revenue every year with this new tax revenue. And so it very much feels like manipulation of numbers.
So, from an outsider looking in, totally understand where you're coming from. From an insider that was there when the decisions were being made, not our intent.
Sure.
When we were looking at COVID, we pulled back on everything because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
We didn't know if a recession was going to come in. Now, it didn't hit us at all.
Yeah.
Our money went.
Oh, yeah. Well, because there was something else people don't know a lot about, right?
What's that?
A bunch of COVID relief money.
Yeah. And
we knew it was coming in, and we knew how to go get it, and we knew it was going to be there when we were talking about not having money.
And you know what we're spending it on? Wastewater plant.
Right. I mean, to some degree, some of it is. It's not spent on other things. I mean, I don't, and that frees up money in other things. But so your whole thing where there's different categories, right? This money has to be spent here. This money has to be spent here. This money has to be spent here.
By Missouri law.
Right. By Missouri law.
Right.
But you can change it.
No. By Missouri statute. Like Missouri law. Jeff City.
But you can choose what to. Missouri law says that you have to use money for what it's earmarked for, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
What I'm saying is that basically you can make the decision of whatever it gets earmarked for, right?
No, I don't understand.
Well,
the
wait a
premise
minute.
of your question.
So you don't put out a tax and then say this is what we're going to use it for?
I want to make sure that I understand what you're saying before I agree or disagree.
Right.
I'm saying that there are different categories. If you're asking, do we get to decide if we ask for more in that category? The answer to that is yes. We get to decide, are we going to ask for a no tax increase in the parks fund?
Right.
And we said yes to that.
Right.
If you're saying I get to use the parks fund money for something else,
No.
I'm just not understanding what you're saying.
Well, you get to designate it in the beginning. Yeah, so everything's in a different category, but you're the ones who control what category it gets designated into. So if you use up all the money for parks, then the money all comes from the same place, us. So if you use it all up in parks, like sorry, I'm not explaining this very
Can
well.
I try to take another run at it?
Yeah.
All right. So, if you're asking whether or not we get to assign the tax, meaning ask the voters to say, do you want this tax or not? We do ask the voters if you want this tax or not. But if the parks money use all their money, we don't get to go in and pour something else into that to fill it back up.
Right.
So,
no, but so all taxes come from us, right?
Yes.
And you guys decide where those taxes go.
Yeah. Well, the voters do.
You split it up. Well, yes. So the voters approve whatever agenda is put forward.
Yes.
And so, but you guys put those categories together. Like you're the ones filling up those categories with whatever amount you want to. Now there's rules on it from the state government.
Yes. But
you are choosing to split the tax revenue into these different categories. So yes, they're all connected. They all come from the same place. It's still the same money pot, but that's always the narrative is, look, it's this ball and cup game. Like, oh, that's a different pocket. We can't do anything. Oh, that's a different pocket. We can't do anything. But really, there's so many pockets that it's like you can really do anything. You just have to do it through the right rule, through the right tax raises or the right policy changes.
I think I'm tracking what you're saying.
I'm gonna have to cut this part out.
Dude,
there's
I'm
no
sorry.
way.
I'm trying to give you something.
No,
but...
and you're. I mean, I think that you're. I don't know. I think you're understanding what I'm saying. I just think that it's like I don't think that there's an answer for that because that's always.
Could you give me an example? Like, give me a concrete example of what you're concerned about.
So, like the whole thing is, you're saying, look, when we spend money on parks, that doesn't affect anything else, right? It's a separate category. But that's not true because there's a finite amount of taxes, and if you use it all up in parks, you don't have leftover money in the roads.
So, all right, I grew up really poor.
Me too.
Cool.
Hey.
Yeah, man, super poor. Like qualified for free lunches at school, but my parents wouldn't let me do it because they didn't want anybody to know that we were that poor.
Yeah.
So we had Kool-Aid growing up, okay, and. This is a bad example, but this is what I'm thinking, all right?
You're not going to say you drank the Kool-Aid, are you?
Oh, God, no. I mean, I drank the
that was
Kool-Aid.
that was what my Facebook comment was.
Oh,
So
yeah,
anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to mess up your emotional story.
No, it's
but I
not
just
emotional. But so we got different cups, right? So like we had a water cup and we had a Kool-Aid cup and we had a milk cup. But that's not relevant to the story. My mom would fill up one Kool-Aid cup and she'd fill up another Kool-Aid cup. If I drank all of my Kool-Aid, I don't get more Kool-Aid. That was all the Kool-Aid we had. So your analogy of, yeah, it's all your money. It
This is
your
the
money.
perfect. Okay, so but
Tell me.
it all came from the same pitcher.
I can't
The
disagree with
pitcher
that.
is the citizens,
Yes.
and they're paying taxes. So it's going into those different cups, and there's a finite amount of it. So
Yes.
if you pour it all in this one glass that's Parks, you don't have enough left over for the sewer that you know that you need to fix.
I love that analogy. Now let me follow it up with a little bit more. Okay? The taxpayers get to decide what percentage goes into what different parts, what different cups. So it's the taxpayers that vote to say, hey, we want. And
But the taxpayers are the 7% that are voting, and it's all whatever they're pitched. And
what
like,
do you want me to do about that?
well,
What do you want me to do about people not voting?
I mean, I want you to not spend it all on parks.
Yeah.
I mean, like our parks are great. Our parks people are great. You know, the things they're doing are great. But like the ballparks outside of town is kind of ridiculous. I mean,
It's
the
in town.
lazy river is a little bit crazy. Oh, you're right, not outside of town.
It's in town.
But there's already one next door to it that is essentially the same thing. And I get that that makes it to where you could do these ultra events, and that's so fun and so cool and exciting for us. I will use all the stuff. It'll be a benefit to me.
Yeah.
I just really do wonder in the full picture of things if it's the most important thing, and it doesn't feel very good doing the things that are needs after the things that are wants.
I hear you. Do you want to hear about the hotel that's coming next to the ballpark?
I want to hear about all the things people
Yeah.
don't want to know or don't know about
don't
yet
know.
because
But-
that's what
but
that's
there's-
what's going to draw viewers, right?
There's
Like,
going to be a huge hotel right next to that pretty new ballpark.
Yeah.
And those people are going to go eat at Iron Grain. They're going to go eat at the new restaurants that are coming in. They're going to go eat at Andy's, and they're going to eat at Paul Sunday's Big
it'll
Whiskey's.
bring in a bunch of revenue.
And you know what that's ultimately going to do? That's going to then filter into the city, and then that is going to filter down to the citizens, making everything better for them. So we are gold plating things, to use your words, not mine, your words. We are gold plating things to
Did I
work.
say gold plating?
You did. You said gold plated
Oh
chairs.
my
You
gosh.
did. I
Oh,
listened.
over here. I
Yeah.
thought you meant I called
Yeah.
the
No,
ballparks
no.
gold plated.
But-
The ballparks aren't going to be gold plated.
No, they're not.
They
But they're going to be nice. They're going to be
Uh-huh.
turf fields, so they're not going to get rained out. So
Are they going to let them play lacrosse on them?
Oh, I don't know.
That's the only thing I care about. Can you get them to let them play lacrosse on them? I'll get on board. That's how you buy me out.
Done, man. Let me make
We
a
can-
call right now.
We can play lacrosse on them.
I don't know. Yes, sure. Why not? Why not? You heard it here first. Lacrosse at the new ballpark. Jared, give me a call. We need to make that happen. So, dude, this is a plan and it's a business, and you don't agree with our business model, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We still want to benefit you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I don't know if I'm
Well,
helping or hurting.
No,
but
here, I'm probably gonna cut this whole section out. Maybe. I
Oh,
don't
look, you can use it personally. I don't care.
know.
It's the truth, dude.
Gosh, we've already talked about all the real questions. I don't need this anymore. Like, what are you? These questions don't mean anything. What accomplishment? We already talked about kind of that.
I'm sorry, I've completely derailed. I thought you wanted a conversation. We're having a conversation.
No, it's good. I'm happy about it because it's really cool. I mean, it's honestly going to be internet gold. You're going to be everywhere because it's the most frank conversation anybody's had about Republic politics online ever.
I hope that's good.
Right. And it is good. I mean, we just have differing viewpoints.
Right.
I'm just going to have to maybe make it not look so confrontational. Or
Dude,
whatever.
I do not feel like I've been confronted at all. I feel like I'm having a conversation with a new friend that disagrees with me, and that's just the way it is.
Well, and I really did mean to just like softball you things the whole time. So
It's all right, man.
you said be honest. But so what is the best way then for people to follow the work you do? If you're being forthright with all the stuff, you really do think you're doing what's right for Republic citizens, and you have this plan. Like what's the plan going forward to communicate that plan to them?
Yeah.
And I hate to like rip you up on this, but
Do it.
e-newsletters ain't it.
So, you're right. It's not. But it's a starting point.
Right.
Look, It is really frustrating because as a business owner of a law firm, if there is a problem, my answer is to fix it. Right. And in my professional lawyer life, sometimes that means throw money at it.
Right.
As a mayor, we cannot just throw money at stuff because, as you've pointed out, it's your money that we'd be throwing the money at.
Oh boy, yeah.
So, look, I want to go hire a $150,000 public information officer. I would love that. I really want that.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
I'm gonna not put this part in, but so you pay what's the Mizzou extension guy $15,000 to write on the sidewalk chalk with? I mean, like that's.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people that disagree with a lot of the little decisions that we make, and a lot of times that builds up into anger, and I get that.
Yeah.
But man, here's the thing: we're trying the best we can with what we've got.
Sure.
And sometimes that's just not good enough. When my kids,
you need somebody young in there, somebody that's like, because they've like grown up on the computers or whatever, right? I'm like in the perfect space in the middle where I remember life before computers, but like most of my life has been computers. But all the people younger than me, they were raised, it's like Batman, like I was raised by the computers.
My 6th grader doesn't have books.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he brings home a Chromebook, and I'm like, where's your books? And he's like, this is my book.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a different mentality, and you're right. And I'm frustrated about it. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah. I can probably help you with that.
I love it, man. And I'm not just saying that for the cameras. I mean that.
Yeah. Because I'll cut this all out so it's not awkward or whatever. I mean, I'll make us both look good.
But if I could get the guy that says that I'm the yes man on my team,
right, to
fix the things. Man, you're the biggest asset I have on my team.
Well, and I'm not legitimately here to just come out. I mean, against any of you.
You don't know me. Why would you be against me?
Right. So, like, I'm legitimately just being straight up with what I see, and like, I'm not just trying to rip it all up. Like, I'm trying to make it better. Like, if your plan for Republic is legitimately the right one, then like, I'd love to hear all of it. But yeah, I've got got concerns. Got concerns for sure.
Did you understand my logic about David Cameron that you don't dress him down in front of the city council?
Yeah, I mean, I do.
And you're not at those lunches, so you can't see that. And frankly, man, I can't prove that to you.
Right.
But you've gotten to know me over the last hour and 15 minutes.
Is that how long it's been?
Yeah.
We didn't even get to all the real questions.
Yeah, I think you know that I'm not just blowing smoke, too.
Right.
So take it for what it's worth. And
sure.
If I can bring you onto my team, I've won.
Yeah.
Because I need people that say, Matt, that's not right.
Well,
on my team.
And, the way that's going to happen is by absolute integrity because that's all that I care about.
That's why I'm here.
And I don't have any dogs in any fight. I just, that's my calling is to bring absolute integrity to my business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I hold other people to the same standard.
We both have the same goal. The goal is to make Republic better.
Right. We just have to just keep having the conversation and be able to, understand the other points of view and, so sorry I've been a little bit harsh in the past. You get to read those comments, I don't like it. But.
Dude, you have every right to those, but this is the most important part. In the future, if you do have a comment, you're going to have my cell phone, and you can call me up and say, Matt, this looks like BS.
Sure.
Do it, because that's my job.
You're going to regret saying it. I'll text you so it's not such a pain.
And dude, you can text me as much as you want. I mean it.
Okay.
And if you disagree with what I do, I expect to be put on blast.
Sure.
But if you understand where I'm coming from and be like, dude, he's trying, that's all I can ask for.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure. No, that's fine. Well, and I don't know how much time you have. If it's been an hour and 15 minutes. The other one
You're good.
Went perfectly. My nice little set of questions, we were done in 58 minutes. And this one's like...
I'm going to adjust my pants.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I'm sitting on the pillow. Sorry, man. Well, when I found out you were that guy, I'm sorry, I legit didn't know.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I am literally a nobody, so...
No, it's not that. It's that, man, I don't let it get to me. Because if I read...
How could you? I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, if you did let it get to you, you'd just be worried about it.
I cannot legislate by what people say on Facebook.
Right.
I can legislate on the 7% that show up because those are the people that are doing the things necessary to show me this is what they want to do.
Right.
That number's way too low, and you're right.
Yeah.
But man,
and if you can do anything to bump that up, I mean, if you're the person that's bringing integrity to the situation,
you and me, let's do it.
Yep.
call out the voters. But you cannot ridicule people and expect them to react well. Can you?
I mean, you're sitting here, aren't you?
I sit here because I didn't know what I was getting into.
What?
No, I'm messing with you.
I was gonna say you have to have
No.
heard. You have to have heard some about it.
So, look. In all honesty, I knew a lot of the comments, but I didn't know who was saying it because I don't want to take that personally.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you're going to be sitting next to me at a ball game or if your kid's going to be my kids.
Right.
You know,
We all gotta live together too.
exactly. So I just don't take that stuff personally.
Yeah.
But now that I know you, you're going to be my guy because I want you to tell me when something's not right. It's just, that's how I operate.
Well, and I get it that sometimes it just doesn't feel right. But I do also think that, you know, there are some discussions to be had about really getting to the meat of what everybody's voice is.
Yep.
You know?
So
And it's like, you know, everybody has a different picture of what it is. It would be nice to kind of get an amalgamation of those pictures instead of just kind of whatever the dream is and go for it, and whatever.
Yeah.
What was the other town you said? Broken Arrow is the one that you guys are looking at
yeah.
for, like, kind of
Broken Arrow.
it's very similar.
They've got like a
situation.
3-person media department, and they are putting stuff out on Facebook all the time. They're putting YouTube videos out it's awesome.
Sure.
But they're spending a lot of money on that, and I cannot. My professional life, I could throw some money at it as a law firm. I have to wear a different hat and cannot throw money at it because we've got other problems to deal with.
Right.
So.
Right. Do you want to finish the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, I am 100% cool with this.
That way, it'll give us enough stuff that I can cut out whatever I want to in the middle. And like,
Are you cool with this? Are you?
no, I am. I mean, it makes me super uncomfortable, but like,
Really?
I mean, kind of like I've been a huge voice against you guys for like what? Like, I just can't believe that you wouldn't have heard about that at all.
I did not.
Apparently, I wasn't as big a voice as I thought.
No, so I just didn't associate your name with that voice.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you invited me to come do this, but I'm glad we're getting to talk, and I wish we would have done it 4 years ago or whatever.
Right.
Because
Right.
maybe I'd give you more ammunition, or maybe I would clear things up a little bit, and you would understand where we're coming from.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Well, so let's take
All
it
right.
back a little
take
bit.
it back.
What do you like to do for fun other than just like mess up and add my page to your place of business and listen to your wife?
I do listen to my wife a lot. I do. All right. So what do I do for fun? So my boys, Alex and Nick. I'm a firm believer in being present in the moment. And do I love to golf? Do I love to read books? Do I like to work out? Yes.
I need to. Good Lord.
We all need to, right? But I love those things, and those are things that I love to do. But I only get my boys for a certain period of time because eventually they're going to grow up and leave.
Right.
And right now they are both athletes. They're both very busy. So the things that we do, we go to basketball games, we go to football games, we go to jiu-jitsu. We do all the things that my boys do. And I take them to every single practice. I legitimately want to be there for them. And I try really hard not to be that dad of, why'd you miss that layup? I try to ask, did you have fun? Is this a good time? And those sorts of things. So I legitimately try to have fun by spending time with my kids.
Nice. Well, and I feel like kids make things fun or whatever. You know, I have nephews. You could be at the park and it'd be boring if you're adults, but like there are kids there, so they're, you know, it's always fun. They're crazy and running around and they make their own games.
Right. And my oldest is about ready to turn 13, and I know that I'm going to be really uncool here and just like that. So I'm trying to soak up every minute of it that I can.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is the stuff that's the most important.
Yep.
So, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
So, like we've talked about, I kind of grew up poor, right? So, this is strange, but we used to eat the box macaroni and cheese with tuna mixed in.
Okay.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, but usually we did like hot dogs or something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
my family was tuna because I think they were 39 cents a can at the time.
Yeah.
So we used to mix that together. And so now every once in a while I'll still get that craving for that old, powdered macaroni and cheese and tuna. So that's probably why boys look at me like we're not touching that.
Yeah.
So
that sounds about like maybe like a chicken salad sandwich for me. Kind of reminds me of like, okay, we didn't have money at that point. We ate those for a week or whatever. For sure. Okay. Cutting out thumbs.
Oh, you see, you were so much more comfortable when you were attacking me.
Oh yeah. I mean, kind of honestly.
That's okay.
Well, because it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm much better conversationally than like, oh, you have to give a speech right now. I'm like sweating and I hate it.
It was totally natural. I think the dialogue back and forth.
Yeah. So. I think so too. I think people love it.
Sorry again, Jesse.
Yeah. Joe, he's going to kill me.
Dude, it was all him.
He was like, you be nice. Okay. What's your darkest secret then? I'm just kidding. If you were an animal, which one would you be?
An animal? Which one would I be? God, we're dog people. I really like dogs.
Well, that makes sense. I feel like they're like kind of a service.
Yeah.
And
they care and they're protective and we're a lab family. We have a lab right now. We had a lab before that. We had a lab mutt before that. So I really love dogs.
Sure. I don't know what I would be. Maybe I should be answering these two.
No,
I'll answer on the next one.
What would you be?
What animal would I be?
Yeah.
It is a good
You wrote the question, so surely you have an answer.
No, they were just for you. I wasn't supposed to answer it, but I could answer it. Guess I would have to say I did. They used to call me polar bear for a little while in certain circles, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway.
No follow-up questions done.
Yeah, it was lacrosse circles. It wasn't anything crazy. Anyway, since you're essentially, kind of what's visually the top of the town's hierarchy, or whatever, like what, I gotta ask you, what can we do for kind of the folks at the bottom?
Man, that's a great question because...
Other than build apartments, which I understand is important because, it's like affordable housing, and that is a big need, even though people don't like to see them. It's like it's so expensive to build housing right now. Yeah. Anyway, go.
So I have a unique perspective on it because I was the bottom of the pyramid. That's what I was born into. I was born into the bottom of the socioeconomic pyramid, and I had a lot of help along the way. And I believe it is my job. I disagree with your position that I'm the top of the hierarchy. I believe that...
Well, just visually.
I disagree with that position in the sense that I still feel like that person. When I make a lot of decisions, I'm still looking at it through the eyes of the kid that ate macaroni and cheese and tuna for meals for weeks on end.
Yeah.
And my goal is to give as many opportunities to people as possible.
Sure.
Now, people might disagree with the way that I want to try to give opportunities,
right.
But I'm doing it in a way that I can see helped me.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I support the school system, and I go speak at the schools as often as they'll let me, so that the kids get to see a guy in a suit, because then that means they start picturing that can happen.
Right.
I want to be able to make sure that they have great parks. I want to make sure that people have the ability to shop where they want to shop, get the best deal possible, and be able to go work in our community to make sure that they have jobs to pay for food for their kids.
Sure.
That's my job, and I'm doing the best I can at it.
I didn't have a good thing to say back to that, so I'll just cut it there. Let's see.
You didn't want to attack that at all?
No, I was like, I didn't have any I don't have any creativity left. You already sapped my brain for the past half hour. Oh, okay. So, I guess we didn't really officially talk about it. When we've been saying my page the whole time. I have a satire page called the City of Republic Mup.
When I did not know that was his page when I walked in here today, because apparently I don't do my Facebook research appropriately.
Okay, you have your phone with you?
I do.
Yeah, get it. So, go to your profile.
My profile.
Yep. And you're going to need to change your place of business. Because the reason I was able to make fun of you while you were making your profile is because you added my page as your place of business instead of the actual City of Republic.
Did I really?
Yeah, I've probably been getting followers off you until now.
I love it, man. Good for you.
I don't know if I really did or not.
So
now click on it.
Oh, that is you. Oh my gosh.
And so it's not really set up to be deceptive because it says satire at the top.
It does.
And, you know, I'm not really trying to deceive people that I am the city government. I don't think anybody thinks that. But it's just like it's kind of almost a play on you know, the name where it's like, oh, you say the city of Republic. Well, that's the municipal government. Like,
Yep.
we're all the city, and so it's like that's kind of the idea. Is
Does this mean that I'm am I part of your page now? Can I be one of the guys?
I'm definitely putting a lot of this stuff on there.
Do it.
Yeah.
Man, here's the thing. I really love the fact that I stumbled into this.
Yeah.
And it's because you're the person I need to talk to. I don't need to go talk to my neighbors that believe in me, that know me, that yeah, Matt's a good guy. I've known him for years. I trust him. I've seen him be a dad. I've seen his kids.
If your message is one of integrity, I can help you distill it for the people. And I will only do that if it is, you know, if it is integrity all the way through.
And the only way that I get to be able to demonstrate that to you is by having these conversations.
Sure.
So I am really grateful we got to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. I mean, I feel like the stars converge here a little bit or something.
Some people out there might think this is the absolute wrong thing to do, but to me, that's the right thing to do.
Are you familiar with the story about the old Republic seal?
That was before my time, so
With the fish, right?
It was way before my time.
Okay, but you're familiar with
Yes.
the story and
Yes.
what happened and whatever. So not one of the main things, but one of the things I did in the beginning when I started the page is I took that seal, and because it's the one you don't use now, so
Right.
that I can feel free to mess with it. But what's perfect is when they fixed it before, because they had the big lawsuit and whatever, what they did was they left the space empty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to a satire page, that's golden.
Yep.
So I can now fill that space with whatever I want to.
You need a picture of me
You want to be in it?
now.
Well,
So
that's the question.
I got the question.
What would you put in the blank space?
So I've got a serious answer for it. I tease when I say a picture of me because.
I'll do both.
All right, fair.
You're like, I'm not asking for it.
I'm not asking, but if you do it, I'm okay with it. Because look, man, I'm an attorney. I stand in front of people and talk. I love that sort of stuff. It's the therapy. We're not going to go down the therapy road right now.
I mean, we can. We got the chairs.
Man,
I'm not nervous anymore, so we can.
I've got a story, man. I can tell you a story. But
I got some time.
So when I got your question of what would I fill it with, I have a legitimate answer, and I'd say it's going to be the school mascot, the Republic Tiger, and it goes back to my.
But not the gold tiger.
No, that's a mess too. I know. Look, I'm not crazy about the entryway sign either. I'm sorry. Like, I get it. It's
actually the sign is beautiful.
the scrawny tiger.
The tiger's too skinny or something. There's a weird. Its front two legs are weird.
Maybe
It's
its
actually
head's too
pretty
big.
good. There's just a little bit of something.
Oh, there's a picture of me leaning against it that I have tried to burn.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I legitimately it's the school mascot because I believe the education in Republic is outstanding. My wife and I moved to Republic because of the schools.
Sure.
I've gotten to know Dr. Pierce personally, and he is a good man. And I think he is doing some really good things, and I firmly believe in it. And
that's our future, right?
Yeah,
Or whatever it is. It's like the kids are clearly most important because they're going to be taking care of us when we're old.
Look, I could send my kids to a private school if I wanted to. I don't want to. I want to send them to a public school just like I did, and I want it to be a good one.
Right.
And I firmly believe, and that's why I would put the mascot in there, because I think that's a pillar of our community.
Right.
Or a picture of me. Whichever.
I like to change it, so that's more things to put in there are fine. I mean, I'll take more than one.
So that's my serious answer to that.
Okay.
So
I like that. I could put something in there for that.
Fair.
So what's next for Republic? We've kind of talked about that a little bit. Got any cool announcements that you can actually tell us? Like, I did not bring Andy's to Republic, but I did break the news. I like to break the news about things.
I'm not giving the enemy anything. Come on,
You
man.
walked in here.
Okay, this is an interesting thing. This is going to be a deep answer. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Part of the problem with the city focus forward is that David Cameron, Andrew Nelson, the staff are incredibly good about driving the bus.
Right.
So I happen to know things that are going to be coming 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, potentially even further down the road. There are legal reasons why I can't get into what those things are going to be.
Right.
But they are so busy driving that bus.
Well, but there's nothing that's gotten beyond that point that we don't know about yet. Because sometimes you can tell stuff, like that road for the schools is the perfect example.
Yep.
Nobody really knows about that yet, but that's something we need that you guys are bringing.
So we put everything that we can put out there legally on the project tracker, which is on the website, which you don't like. And I get that because it's...
Well, no, the project tracker is one of the things I do like. It,
Okay.
you know, because you at least can see what the websites. I'm not against the website. It's more just that websites are old. If that makes any sense.
It
That
does.
sounds stupid,
No.
but like at this point, websites are old.
So the tracker tells everything that I'm legally able to tell. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. The problem is we are so forward focused that a lot of times we forget to stop and tell you, hey, this really cool queue line is going to cut down on traffic in a really important part of town.
Right.
We are not good at that.
Yeah.
So are there cool things? I don't know what you know and don't know.
Well, that's true. Well, what's something the average people? What's like the newest thing that's coming that you know about that you can tell that probably everybody wouldn't know?
So I'm going to tell you what I believe is going to be some of the most exciting things that are going to be happening. Okay, iron grain. Now you know what iron grain is, but iron grain is going to be the anchor point to all sorts of development, stretching both ways towards I-44 and towards the City of Republic, all within City of Republic boundaries, and that's going to be the anchor point, and that's going to, when people drive through there, they're like, I don't get it. It's sitting in the middle of the field. 2 years from now, everything's going to be filled around there.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to me because I know that's the starting point of it. I'm excited about the school bond that just passed. Dr. Pierce just ran a great campaign, no tax increase for a 5th and 6th grade school. Why is that exciting? Well, because my kids are currently in 5th and 6th grade. Like, I know...
Oh, conflict of interest. He did it.
The school board did it, not the city government. School board, city government, totally different.
See, that's how easy that happens.
Yeah. So, look, I know that my 6th grade son, who is an athlete, who's one of the cool kids, is and I'm excited that the 5th and 6th grade building is going to get built right next to the new park, which will create, I hate to use this word, but it's an accurate word, synergy about what's going to happen right there. It's going to be a new part of town that's going to be new, clean, fresh, that's going to be good for our citizens. So I'm legitimately excited about these things because they're going to be the anchor points to the growth that's going to happen.
Sure. And kind of help really establish us as really like the choice suburb of Springfield.
Yeah. You know, we get asked a lot about Nixa and Ozark and Springfield and Rogersville. The mentality inside the organization is not to compare ourselves to those communities. They're different communities. We have a unique, in fact, we call it a winning lottery ticket. That green space between I-44 and Republic, that's a unique area that will allow major development, which will ultimately, in my view, help the citizens of Republic. So those cities don't have that uniqueness that we do, and we're lucky to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, that might be a good ending point. I'm still just like sitting here like,
I still want to talk. I want to talk more.
Well,
man.
we'll have to come back. Maybe we'll have to talk without those going. Like, that's part of it.
Well, that's absolutely what I want. And Jesse, again, I'm sorry, but
you have no idea.
But no, man, I absolutely cherish this conversation because, look, if you and I can get to an understanding, anybody in the Republic can get to an understanding.
Sure.
And you can help me.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
Right.
And I'm not in a position to say that I'm 100% right.
Right.
Period.
And I mean, just showing what's real is what's important to me and to the brokerage I work for. You know, for us, like that's what the most important thing is helping people and maintaining that integrity and just making sure that we're having the full, honest conversation all the time.
Yeah. And I thank you for allowing me to have that voice.
Sure, absolutely. We'll I'm gonna have some editing fun because
we've messed this all up.
I
dude.
feel like
I'm sorry.
I feel like we're done.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
I know
good.
I could. There's maybe another couple one, but like, oh no, actually I have one that I have to ask.
Okay.
Because I did the announcement thing already. Who else is interesting that I should interview? From Republic or Springfield, or who would come here and have a good conversation that would be funny to talk to? And maybe we could do a more funny one next time. This one was like way uber serious.
It was.
Because I know you're a funny person. I like to think I am.
I try to be. My wife tells me I'm not. A lot of dad jokes in my life. I do a lot of dad jokes. It's horrible, but not like staged ones. They just kind of happen.
After hearing the few things about her, I'm inclined to just
you want to
listen
interview
to her.
Crystal?
I'm gonna listen to her on everything. Yeah, maybe I should.
Totally interview Crystal. She would absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
100% hate. That's why she doesn't like the mayor stuff.
Well, and it is hard. You saw how nervous I was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But it's like, then once you get into just having a conversation with somebody, it's fine. We can cut out all whatever is awkward or negative.
She curses like a sailor.
Ooh.
Like a sailor.
We're just going to say sorry, Jesse, all the time.
Yeah,
sorry,
like
Jesse.
Beep, beep. I mean, she, like a sailor. A sign in her office says, maybe it'll be better if you curse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so what are you looking for as far as somebody to interview? Are you looking for somebody that's on your team, or are you looking for somebody that's not on your team?
Well, honestly, just people just what people will look at. Like, I mean, I just am like, so I want to do interviews, but I don't want to just do, the same type of people. Like, I may do you today, and I may do a homeless person. Do we have one homeless person in Republic? Well, just one.
Really?
Yeah, we have just one. His name's Shadow. You know him?
I don't know Shadow.
Know him?
I don't know Shadow.
Yeah, a lot of people know him.
Oh.
He seems harmless. He looks a little scary. That was the phone sounding like I was going to die.
Oh.
So
quickly.
give us a...
You know what? I would love for you to talk to Dr. Pierce. I think he would have a unique perspective on why the education is getting better in Republic, and we've hit some major milestones, and I think Dr. Pierce would do a really great job.
Right.
I don't know that you'd be able to get a lot of city people in here to talk.
It depends how much I cut out.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, I will come back anytime you want to talk.
Sure. That sounds great. I think we can do some great things.
I agree, and I truly thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you. No, and so the whole thing is like, no, I thought you were, I thought you guys all talked about